I can go on spiel, but there's definitely I don't ever like feel like I have every day of life is just talking like
no, dude, talk. Trust us when you're talking.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 103 of Cali Brick Clique. Man, 103, that's crazy. It's almost about to be 104. 2 years, baby. 2 years. But before we get into that, you've probably already found this on all your podcasting platforms. So might as well just leave the rating, hit the thumbs up, do whatever you got to do.
Please.
And the usual suspects. We got Claire, we got Shy,
yo,
and the one, the only, Brent from Brent's Bricks.
What up? It's weird to be on the other end of this. Usually I'm like, I have a guest with me. And I've been on Good Morning Brick World, but that's also kind of like a stream kind of thing. So it's like weird to be on the other end of it for sure.
When we're not streaming, this is like pre-recorded.
Yeah, I know. I keep having to remind myself that it's not live. And what's funny is like, it's weird. It's like there's not pressure of like, oh, if I say something dumb or if I curse when I shouldn't or whatever. But it's like now it's like, yeah, if I say something dumb, Shy can just edit it out.
Or if you stumble over the intro.
Yeah. So basically
it as a real,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like, pretty much, if I say something stupid, then Shy can edit it out. So basically, Shy, you might have a lot of work to do on this one. You might be fixing me a lot. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's all good. I don't mind editing. It's all good.
Yeah. You guys don't swear on this, right?
Sometimes I usually
if we need to.
Claire's like rolled it back a lot. Like instead of saying shit, she says poo poo.
Yeah. Well,
do I really? Do I really?
Take your word for it,
like you haven't sworn in like the past like 10 episodes.
I haven't gotten passionate. I have to get upset. It's like
yeah.
I have to get upset about something. And it's usually like later in the episode. That's like what I've always been told. It's like you can swear like later in the video or whatever.
Yeah, because in the first like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real or anything, but who knows? That seems like such an irrelevant thing. But no, I don't know. I'm trying, to flex my lexicon. Like that's what I'm trying to do a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's a time and place for it. I feel like,
Either or. Yes, we can edit your swear words.
No, I mean, I'm totally because there's a good balance for me. Like I don't swear whenever I make videos for YouTube, but like the podcast is kind of a different story. But also like it's pretty minimal. But every once in a while, there's been some guests on, won't say any names, who have like really let loose. And I'm just like, we kind of look at each other like, oh, well, it's live. So what are we gonna do about it?
In a video format, like when you do a video, like swearing, it's like a video that you make on YouTube is more like a presentation. So like it kind of shows your level of professionalism in a way. I mean, not to say that it has to be or it doesn't have to be, but it says a lot when you're making a video that's forever on here and like every 10 seconds a swear word. Whereas
I think it depends on what kind of content you make.
Yeah, and then obviously the context. Okay, so going back in the same realm, vlogging, and then but in a realm of like live streaming and podcasts where it's a conversation, naturally most people swear every now and then when you converse with your friends. So it feels like when you do swear, not to say that it's okay or not okay, but when you do swear on a stream or podcast, it feels like your audience is also in the room. And it feels more like normal than if you're like in the script, if that makes sense.
Right. I guess and you guys obviously put your VODs on YouTube, like you keep them on the ACOB channel and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys like how well do they perform and stuff like that? Because, usually like they're kind of like funny. It's like, since it is a live stream, like, if it is something that people are going back and seeing, like, how is it any different than a video, right? Even though it is a live stream.
Right.
Good one, Claire.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, like, I guess this is how I see it. The podcast, or at least our podcast streaming or whatever you want to call it, like, I feel like it's kind of more like 18 plus, like adults welcome and that kind of theme of like adult Lego AFOLs, whatever. Yeah. And then also too, it's like, it's, podcasts and things are such a long form that like, I don't think any of the younger kids because like, okay, I'll see someone out and they'll be like, oh, like, they'll tell their kid like, oh, that's the Lego guy. This is in my small hometown, by the way. So it's like somebody I know, but they're like, hey, that's my buddy that you watched on YouTube. But I know they're not just listening to a couple of brickheads for like long hours. So, I mean, I guess at that point, and we're kind of always, that's, at least in the beginning, we've been clear that it's kind of like an AFOL kind of thing. So I guess I guess that's why we don't really filter the swearing as that much. We do, but like I said, sometimes there's some guests on there, and maybe afterwards we're like, hey, like we swear, but we're not dropping like ADF, or we want to try to not drop like ADF bombs.
Shout out to Pen 15.
Well, I mean, also like speaking as a parent, right? Like if I see my kid watching like a stream like this or a recording like this, and there's 4 adults on there,
right?
I'm gonna like listen for like 5 to 10 seconds to see if it's appropriate for my kids, and usually they're not. So the other day I just caught my kids watching TD Bricks, and I'm like, I don't know if I want you to watch this, and then all of a sudden he put on something like this in this similar vein, but like kind of.
You're like making a future little like teenage monster. Like
I know, but just like the flashiness of his work, it's too much. We were trying to keep him away from like things that change every 2 seconds. So like,
right, you don't want a child to like reduce motor function or whatever the latest.
Exactly, but he watches stuff like this, but in like the action figure world.
Got it.
So like, because he likes Jurassic World stuff. So when we see him watch videos with an adult on there, we immediately change it. Like we don't want him.
I feel that.
Not to say that they're bad or anything. We don't know where it can go. Right. So most kids, I would presume, aren't going to be watching these type of things anyways. Let alone make it this far, because it's already they already clicked off 30 seconds, like 5 minutes and 30 seconds ago.
Yeah,
I don't know. That intro was pretty fire.
That intro was great.
Intro. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
The intro was great.
But before we get into like Brent, because we're diving into one of the topics already, the modular was announced. Not really announced. Sorry, it was leaked.
Hold on. I want to talk all about the modular, and I think we're going to go down a rabbit hole. But do people even know who Brent is and like how
that's the one that's the thing we're getting into Brent.
People have to wait? Okay, people have to wait.
Yeah, we're going to wait. We're going to get into Brent, because the Brent leads into the ACOB, which leads into the actual topic.
This is not specific on you. I would be saying the same thing if it was, oh my God, Sans.
All right. Well, anyways, before Sans pulled Claire away, we'll get back into Brent. So modular was leaked. Thoughts?
None at all. But Claire had some.
I love it. I'm super excited, but I'm a sucker. Like, I'm such a dumb slut for these modulars. Like, I'm like, yeah, whatever they come out, like, I'm happy about it. Like, literally, I have no opinion. But then, like, they could like come out with like, what's it called? Like the Black Panther I didn't like, and I could like nitpick even some like Harry Potter sets. But like these modulars, I have such blinders on. It is absurd. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but I do really like it. And what I'm the most excited about is that they're continuing this like distribution of proportion, and they're breaking up like the 32 by 32s into smaller buildings. It creates such a nicer facade, like our street face, like as you're walking like down, or not walking, like imagine the minifigure walking down, but even as your eye moves from building to building, and how it's breaking it up, and it seems like there's more there, but it is, just one modular a year or whatever. It's just like the PlayStation in that sense of breaking it up. And I think that's great. The PlayStation is probably like creeping up to be my favorite one, simply because it's the highest level of detail, proportional changes. It's a civic structure, which I was surprised that I would like. I don't usually like civic buildings in general, like in real life. Anyway, that's kind of like my tirade. I think it's great. I'm really into it.
What a breakdown. That was great. I'm not used to people like really breaking down modulars.
I mean,
it's like Star Wars.
You have a modular crew right here. So like I'm in the same boat where I'll buy all the modulars day one, January 1st. I'll get them all. Doesn't matter what it looks like, I'm gonna get it. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of too far down to that rabbit hole. That being said, I do agree I love the fact that there's depth with all the past 4 modulars. So 3 modulars, right? Police station was the one that did that first.
I think so.
Oh no! The detective's office did it first.
I wouldn't know.
I agree, but you can argue also that Assembly Square really took it to the next level with play in depth, right?
Fair. Yeah. I do like the fact that it's not like it's big, like the buildings to the side and the smaller buildings to the right. Like it's not like cut in half where you have 2 little.
I don't mind those.
I don't mind that either.
I don't mind those. I don't want another. I'm sorry. I don't want another like 32 by 30, or I don't want another brick of a building. Like I just rebuilt Town Hall, not Town Hall.
That's a straight brick.
Yeah, I just rebuilt Fire Brigade, and like I just rebuilt what's the other one? Cafe Corner, and they're like cool, and it's the history of them and the development of them is what's cool. But they are dumpy as sets. Like if they were to come out now, we'd be like, what is this? It like especially. development of the buildings, like even like Daily Bugle and the Sanctum, like these are like the level has gone up so high, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely prefer the way the new, I know this is like controversial, the way the new boutique hotel looks than like one of the older like golden age, or not, like the classic like modular sets. But that being said, I'm not a fan of this modular set. I don't know why. It just doesn't scream anything to me. Maybe because I have a blurred leaked version of this, and or like for the box up front, I do know that the back facade, like the back picture of it is out. I do like that. I don't know. Maybe it's the colors.
Is it still a pizzeria or?
It's a pizzeria and it's a jazz cafe or jazz club.
It's a jazz club that has typical kind of a movie theater signage. Like a vertical marquee, which is like protruding out the front, which is really cool. We haven't, Cafe Corner had one, and didn't like Pal Cinema had one, and their version of it, and it's nice seeing it again. It's almost like an homage to that. And then like the dark red color is really nice. I think dark red is one of the more beautiful colors that Lego has done. And when there's a lot of it, it actually has variation in tone because it's like very inconsistent, which can actually create like
I didn't think about that.
Palette, right?
Like actual bricks,
Yeah, exactly. So either it's got variation in tone and that looks really cool because I think that could give it a depth, because I do really like when people like mix old gray and like the yellowed gray.
Oh
like,
yeah, I see a lot of Castle
Mocks. Yeah, and Mocks, they do a great job. So this could be an opportunity for that. And if it's not, then it's got a reformulated dark red brick. I would assume so, or they're very specific. Yeah, which would be really cool too. That's like another really cool thing that could come out, because those are brittle. Red is inherently a difficult pigment to work with, which is why like reddish brown ended up being a problem for so long. It's it's from a material science perspective, it's complicated in makeup, and we've talked about that before here. But like I think there's an element of interest there. Not to argue for the current module.
Oh no, yeah. So I do like the fact that the color scheme is it's completely different from the past two modules. That's for sure. It definitely went dark, because it's not nougat color. It's not, or whatever they call them. It's not like it's not bright, like as far as like a pink and like green.
People didn't like that. People reacted poorly to the diner and the bookshop. They reacted really poorly to that. They tend to like more neutral tones that you actually see in real life, outside of like Art Deco in Miami or whatever,
To pivot just a little bit, Claire, you mentioned the dark red. I might be in the minority on this, but I feel like when they did the giant $400, it's $500 Hogwarts Express, I feel like dark red might have just, I don't know, like I get it. It's supposed to be like bright red, like my shirt, but like, I don't know. I just feel like a train that is used every year, like the Hogwarts Express, is probably really old. It's not like perfectly red. For me, I felt like dark red might have just made it look a little more like rustic. I don't know if that's the right word.
In a good way or bad way? In a good way or bad way? I'm curious. Like, are you saying like a negative or that's a positive?
No, I'm saying I think I would have liked to see a dark red instead of the regular red.
So you prefer if Hogwarts was dark red versus red?
The Hogwarts Express, the brand new big one. Now I don't. If they did it, maybe it wouldn't look good. But in my head, I'm like, and I know I guess you'd want it to be the same color as the play scale, but like I don't know, dark red might have made it just look a little. I'm saying in a good way, rustic.
So I have Tommy C. Bricks did a mock of the Hogwarts Express, and I built it, and it's in dark red, and it looks great.
Okay.
Like we have it on display, and it is the only Hogwarts Express I've left on display, obviously for like nostalgia reasons and stuff. And I did the carriage and stuff that went along with it. And it was also one of my first like mocks I parted together and stuff. So there's that aspect to it. But I don't, I think I would have preferred it in dark gray or dark red as well.
Yeah.
But that mock that I did has some pretty extreme variation in tone. And I feel like it was not worth the customer service nonsense that would have come up from people buying the super expensive set, calling Lego up and being like, this is like, could you imagine just like from their end, like, be like absolutely not, like this, that would make that set null and void in terms of value. I don't know, maybe, I have no idea. I'm curious. No, it's not selling like hotcakes, right? These sets don't. So I think something like that could have a bigger impact on it, but it's, I don't know how, like, I don't know what that factor of customer satisfaction, how that plays into different set design and like color choices and brick choices. That would be that's like insider information we'll never get, which is like so interesting that we're all like dying to know how those decisions are made. But yeah, I don't know. No, that's a really good point with the dark red. Yeah, that was a good pivot. Right.
Well, because I watched Tommy C's stuff, but I guess I missed the one of his mock of a dark red version. But I think
it's older. It's like pretty old for him.
Right. Well, because I also like the lighting in the movies in Harry Potter. I don't want to go on too long about the Hogwarts Express, but like the lighting, like, a lot of people were saying like, well, it's the lighting that makes it look darker, and it's not really like that, and it is bright red. But yeah, anyhow,
I don't know. There's something about the bright red color. I think also that's so Lego, and it almost like forces you into the reality that this is a Lego set versus like maybe a dark red or another color. Maybe could like kind of make it easier to like fantasize it outside of it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how the brain works like that. But when I think of that bright red color, I think of like that basic 2x4 brick. And like, there's so many, like, there's just so many products that Lego makes with that. I don't know. I can't even like grab them around me, but you know what I mean? It's like that just like rich red color, right? Speaking of like much, yes, of course, here's one, but like, I don't know. I think maybe that's why people don't like it. There's some like, it just like looks too similar to something they already know.
Yeah. There's probably also like, or at least from me just guessing, there's just a lot more, elements available in the regular red. It's a giant train. So from there, if they thought about it, they're probably like, well, it's more consistent because it's the same color as the play scale, and we have more pieces in that color. But yeah, I guess, the world may never know. But anyway, I didn't mean to pivot us too far from modulars.
No, that's totally fine. Either way, I'm still buying it day one, regardless of how I feel about it right now. I know my mind can change. I'm just saying the past couple years, I was like, oh yes, day one for sure, love this one. Day one for sure, don't love.
Wait, every single release of the modulars you've been excited about, except for this one, you've been excited about every single one.
The ones that I've been able to be excited for, because I can only go so far back.
Right, because like when you were like up to date.
Yeah. So since Corner Garage, I was like, oh yeah, cool. But this one, it's like, I don't know. But like I said, that can change when it's actually officially announced. When I get to see the interior, when I get to see there's a story, when there's more images of it aside from what we all see, that type of thing.
Yeah, I would just wait and see. Like, when and you've built almost all of them, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to part out Market Street.
Right. So yeah, that's an easy one to part out. So like what do you like? What after building all of them, have you ever been disappointed in any of them?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, I mean, going backwards, like getting the older sets, yes, I've been disappointed. But
right, also like I can like change my mind frame for that time period kind of thing.
Yeah. But like for the most part, I've enjoyed every single build that even outside like modular builds, like the Daily Bugle and like the Sanctum. Like I enjoy like building the modulars. I find them really fun. That includes Ninjago City, Gardens, Docks. Like I just love building the modulars. Even even if you were to consider the Creator 3 ones modulars too, like I enjoy building
and stuff.
Baby modulars.
Mm-hmm. But there's just something about the actual modular that the one set of the year that comes out for the icons line now. That's something to look forward to. And I'm like, in my head, you build this thing in your head of how it's going to look, because this anticipation for the entire year of whatever the next one's going to be. And then you hear the leak of what it is going to be, and then you see it. Like I said, the past couple years, I haven't been disappointed. This one, I'm like, I'm not disappointed. I'm just like not excited about it. And that's
how I was with the police station, and I was so pleasantly surprised. And I hope you have that similar experience. And I'm really curious how you guys feel about this kind of like idea of trusting the process a little bit. Like obviously, like there's many things that Lego gets wrong, or doesn't like kind of hit the target, or is like way off base, or is just like right next to it. But I feel like modulars, I think they've done a really good job. I think because they have the opportunity of really one thing a year. And I don't know that maybe the same team like does like, the Marvel ones or whatever, who knows. But like that, I think it's one of those aspects of Lego that we can kind of like put a little bit of faith, just like blind faith, I think, into it. I don't know.
No, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. And I know, Brent, you're like, you have a lot of Star Wars, like, like that's really like your main,
nice
market, other than this, like,
yeah. All right. Well,
but hold on. No, I was going to say, like, my question for you though is like, do you ever feel that way with like any aspect of Star Wars, or are you like hypercritical, like the mega masses of Star Wars fans? Or how do you find yourself with like critiquing and like blind faith, I guess, when it comes to certain sets?
Yeah, so like there's so much, I feel like, criticism that goes into, sets, especially in the, I don't know, I guess the social media era of Lego, but like I'm most certainly like I'm open to a lot of the criticism. Like I don't think every set is perfect. Like I don't think like it should be like, well, like I don't think, there's really no excuse. There's not a lot of excuses that should be made. I feel like sets should be criticized, but at the same time, like I don't know. And it's weird because like I like to point out the as most positives of a set that I can sometimes, but it's weird. I look at a lot of sets in two ways. Like for instance, Sean and Max, like they think I'm so Sean and Max, I guess for those of you that don't know, I do the podcast for those boys. Shout out to Sean and Max. But they hate when I buy Ninjago. They're like, what are you doing? Why are you buying Ninjago? I'm like,
Why?
well, I was like, I think the minifigures are kind of cool, and like Lana's gonna have fun with it. But I don't know. They just kind of give me crap for Ninjago. Like I don't know. I guess they're in the camp of like, oh, Ninjago's terrible. But me, like, okay, like building a Ninjago set for me, it's not. I know. I've had this sitting here. I built it kind of recently, but like, I don't know. Ninjago gives me a weird, like a good weird, but like it weirdly feels like Bionicle. It's nothing like Bionicle, but like I think back to being a kid, and I'm like, cool pieces, vibrant, just new kind of weirdness. And I don't know. It kind of scratches that nostalgia itch in a weird way, but not to go too far into Ninjago. But like that's kind of I look at sets and two different sets of eyes. I'm like, do I like this for me, or do I think this is cool enough to where I would have fun building this with a 7-year-old? So, from Max's point of view, he's like, Ninjago, waste of time. And I'm like, if I get it on sale, I think it's kind of cool. Lana will probably have just as much fun with it as me, if not more. So yeah, as far as criticism, I guess I have two lenses, if you will. So it's like my own lens, and then like, what it would feel like, what would my kids feel about this? My youngest is only 11 months. He's not building yet, but Lana's 7. So like she loves, Ninjago and all that stuff.
Prime. This is like the prime time for her to really get into. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Friends is probably her main theme though. Like,
and
like we usually buy all the advent calendars, and I'm like, you can only pick one advent calendar this year. She's like, got to go with the Friends one still.
Yeah. Speaking of advent calendars, Marvel was a disaster, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I am really happy that she likes Friends. I'm really happy that you buy Friends, because some of those Friends builds that are coming out are actually pretty epic. And it's like, if you like can like I buy Friends, I enjoy it, and even like Sans like some of the stuff. But like, hey, if you just need that extra push, like a daughter to like get you to buy
100%.
That is like totally worth procreating. Yeah, that
right.
is.
And I have Friends that makes me happy the entire time.
The colors, man. It's the colors.
It's the colors.
It's really and that's why I think Ninjago is so cool. For those that are listening and can't see, like I just feel like these new figs with the transparent pieces,
though, they're so good,
so sick. Yeah, the wings have some transparency. Like the head is transparent. Even the head piece is like so many transparent pieces. It gets me excited that maybe one day, please Lego, make Force Ghost Jedi with transparent pieces. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if it does, it'd be cool. So, but yeah, that's like the type of stuff.
Give them a year or two. Just give them a year or two. They saw the fake one of it. Okay, it takes a second.
Oh, it'd be sick. It'd be so sick.
Unfortunately, their like timelines for stuff isn't as quick as I think we are. Yeah. It's like, with social media, we're like so fast with stuff, and like information gets like spread so fast, and also our opinions change like based on the emotional well-being of a 25-year-old. So like I think that it just like it's really impactful to like recognize that unfortunately like the industrial design or the supply chain process hasn't actually caught up to social media.
So actually I think this is I want to bring this up while it's appropriate time. So we were talking about Friends, talking about modulars. So Claire, I wanted to ask you specifically, I have it in my notes here, about the Downtown Flower and Design Store. It got revealed officially on Lego, but I don't know if you've seen it. It is $180. Oh, I'm sorry, no, $160.
Oh, I saw it. I actually did see it on Emma Soros. She did an unboxing today, and it is most. It's so funny because you could say it's like the most modern architecture that we've seen Lego do, really, other than an architect.
Yeah.
this
Okay.
one,
So I wanted to bring that up because of the modern architecture, and I knew Claire would probably appreciate that. But it's so tiled off, and like the angle of the roof, and like it looks like a Manhattan something, like just very modern. Yeah.
It looks like someone's mock, which is like so weird about it. To be totally honest, it's actually not even that modern. It's like something that you could have seen in the 1940s, 1950s. You know, it's like not even like
80s on this one. I was pegging 80s on this one, or 90s.
No, but I was gonna say, because of the colors, it almost looks like it's like right out of the 80s and 90s because of it. So, but like the forms and stuff like that aren't like particularly new. But for Lego, it feels like revolutionary. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because you saw this in a build, like on the street, you'd be like, that's a bit weird. And I'm sure there's even dilapidated versions of it because they've been around for so long. But it's fascinating to see something so tiled off. You really called it that, and it's
so sick.
It's so interesting, and I love that they shared it, or they have it right next to a more typical, like, you know, like older style, like right next to it, which I think is kind of interesting. And I think they did that intentionally. You know, it's called Unity Street. It's got two different, very starkly different architecture styles that are right next to each other and that work together.
They're modular too. You can take them apart.
So yeah, you can have it all like next to each other. But yeah, I'm scrolling through the pictures. You can kind of put it in like a origin, or like even like, okay, so like this is like I don't know how well this is going to show up, but that furniture to me, looks just, I guess, more okay. So I think I think you mentioned TD Bricks earlier. I feel like when he does those videos of like building furniture, and he does like the modern stuff, it kind of looks like the stuff that's in this set. And
I mean, Tiago, shout out to Tiago.
No, TD Bricks also doesn't.
I meant TD Bricks.
I was giving Tiago more love. That's all.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you thought I meant someone else. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure TD Bricks has his videos.
No, yeah, they both do.
Yeah, but no, I think I saw this set and I was like, whoa, like it's so tiled off, and I feel like that's what, to me, I just instantly was thinking like, it's just such like, I don't know, it feels modern, but also old school in the same way because of the color scheme and everything. But
it's one of, at least like, I'm not even sure if you're asking for my opinion, but if I'm going to share it because
go ahead. No, yeah.
I think it's objectively really cool that Lego's doing it. But if you took that design and you're like, here, I want to do a building, I'd be like, that's absolutely disgusting. Like, get it out of here. You know what I mean? Like if you were to put it on the street, but for Lego, I mean, but I would say that with a lot of Lego sets, I'd be like, that's redundant. But for Lego, it's like this different universe that's like never seen anything like this unless someone's done a mock on it, which is, I think that's the interesting part. Like, I think a lot of people are viewing it, because I've seen a little bit of like sassiness around it. Like, what the hell is this? And I think a lot of people would want like another building that's similar in style to the one on the left, you know, next to it. Right. But I don't know. I think it's great that Lego pushes the boundaries on a bunch of this stuff, and they tend to do it mostly on front sets. I think that's the space where it's wanted.
Yeah. So, what's, in a nutshell, you would like it in your Lego city, but not a real city, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like it that it's a Lego set, but like, yeah, right. No, I would hate it as a building. I don't know if that makes sense. With the colors and like the angle, and it's ineffective, and it looks like terrible to heat, and it would just be a miserable space to be inside. It's like a cool building from the outside, but it's one of those, you know, it's like not 100% thought through, but it's freaking Lego set. Who cares? It's awesome.
Right.
Yeah?
You're asking practicality for an actual Lego set.
That's what good architecture is like functioning buildings, not just like sculpture. That's the two different things.
Well, we completely dove really hard into the left without even knowing who Brent is.
All good. Me and Sean on our thing, like, we get lost in so many rabbit holes. And
so before we get into number one, Brent, tell us about yourself right quick, and what you think ACOB.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. All right. So my name's Brent. My channel name is Brent's Bricks. It's very original and cool. There's a lot of times where I consider changing it, but I'm like, well, it's been this for so long, I might as well leave it that way. Because the farther you get in this thing, Sean mentions it all the time, but it's like there's so many people with the name Brick in their name that you can kind of get lost in that. So
you can change your name whenever. Holly did it.
It's true.
So Danny.
It's true. Very true. But
it's the Brent that sticks.
Yeah, Brent sticks with Brent's Bricks.
Oh.
Does he? I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, like, I started doing YouTube like 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. And really, I was it's pretty new back into Lego. So I'll take it even farther back. I had a really long dark age. Like, was born in 94 and loved Lego all the way up until I was probably like 10, maybe. So let's put it at like 2004-ish, 2005-ish, which sucks because like my dark age was during so many cool Star Wars sets, and that's my favorite theme. So to fast forward a bunch more years, it was 2015 really with The Force Awakens that pushed me back into Lego, because Star Wars was back, and then I was reminded of like, oh yeah, like why would I buy a bunch of like I still like other Star Wars merch. Don't get me wrong, like I love sweaters, I love posters and everything, but I was like, why would I buy a bunch of Star Wars merch when I could just buy the Lego sets and display those? So that's kind of what pushed me back into it. And so I bought pretty much the whole Force Awakens wave. But what's kind of funny, all right, so like I got back into Lego in 2015, but it wasn't until like 2019, 2020 that I really fully got back into Lego. And that also contributed to the fact that I started dating my now wife, but at the time she had a daughter who was 2, and so she was just getting it. So I introduced her to Lego, and then that just fully helped me push me. And then there was Lego Masters, and I was watching that a bunch when it came out, and that's kind of really what fully pushed me back in. Like Force Awakens got me back in enough to buy a few sets, but then it was, having a stepdaughter who's 2, who's interested in Lego, and then like Lego Masters came out. But so I had a really long dark age, and then almost, I guess, a miniature dark age from like 2015 until like 2018, 2019. And what's weird about that is I look back and like there's Last Jedi sets that I wish I kind of would have got, but it was so weird because coming out of The Last Jedi, like it was just such a big disappointment. Like I didn't buy any of the merch. I didn't want any of the Lego sets really. So I feel like that was a small contributing factor. But by the time episode 9 came out, I was buying those sets again. So yeah, but then getting fully back into it, what really kind of started the YouTube side of things. I really wish I would have started doing that obviously way earlier, because YouTube's giant now. I think everyone kind of wishes they would have started earlier. Right. If you look at everyone that has had their channels for like 10 plus years or so, you kind of have a really good foundation for building something really cool. But what really kind of kickstarted me into doing it, I had always wanted to do it. Like there's so many people that say like, oh, I want to start a channel. Like so many people can say that until you finally just actually do it and push forward into actually putting in the time and everything. But shout out to Kohl's because I found sets early in Kohl's, and this would have been before 2020 sets came out. So like late 2019, I think. And or it could have been late 2020 going into 2021. Anyhow, I found sets early at my Kohl's, and it just kind of blew my mind. I was like, whoa, like even though I have 0 subscribers, if I'm at least making content or reviews on sets that aren't out yet, at least that gives me some kind of push. And it did kind of help. Like it was interesting. Like my first videos didn't blow up or anything, but it was for having like literally hardly any, like a couple subscribers, like kind of getting lucky and getting some sets early was kind of a cool push, because it was interesting because at least it was sets before they were out, and it kind of gave me that push into it. But I guess that's the main origins in a nutshell. It took Star Wars movies kind of getting better after a bad one, and then dating someone with a kid that fully pushed me back into it. And Lego Masters. I like to throw Lego Masters in there because for me, Lego Masters like reminded me that a Lego set is more than the set that it is. Like, a set, it could be repurposed for obviously so many other things. And since I had such a long dark age, like I forgot that, there's so much creativity. You don't necessarily just have to build the sets and then just leave them on a shelf forever. They can be repurposed for tons of other things. So Lego Masters was kind of a big contributing factor at me maybe just buying a set because it's on clearance and it's got cool pieces, and I might just keep it for the inventory or whatever. So I don't have any of my childhood sets. I guess this is another point that I could throw in there talking about my origins. But some people were lucky; they had their parents that were like, "Oh, he might want these one day. I'll keep them." My mom gave all of my Lego to a school, which it's fine. Kids, it went to kids. At least it wasn't like whatever sold at a yard sale for $1 to someone who's gonna do whatever. Young, man, like they were definitely like second graders or something. It was an elementary school. I don't know, what grade to. But anyway, so the reason why I bring that up is because back in 2015, my mom was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I'm like, "I don't know, Mom. Money." I was like 20. I was 21 at the time. Was I 2015? Yeah, I was about 21 at the time. So 2021. Mom said, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, "I don't know." And I'm like, and it dawned on me. I was like, you know what? I've kind of really been looking at Lego again lately, Mom. I've not built a Lego set in years. And I kind of wish I had all my old ones that you gave away, like trying to make her feel bad, but not really.
Hint, hint.
And then so she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll get you one. Which one do you want?" I was like, "Well, it's kind of pricey. I understand if you don't want to get it for me, but I kind of want this Millennium Falcon." And what's crazy is, at the time it was one. Yeah, so it was, at the time 150 or whatever, but like $150. And like obviously to me now, I'm like all about the UCS set. So $150 set to a seasoned Lego fan is like $150. That's a decent size set. But at the time, I was like, dude, I'm jumping back into Lego head first. $150 set, Millennium Falcon, whatever. And that spiraled. I was like, all right, I want the Kylo Ren shuttle now, and then I want all the other Force Awakens sets. Pretty much got the whole wave. There was a couple that I may have skipped out on, but so yeah, that was the first set, and then. But then, like I said, I had that miniature Dark Age after the Force Awakens. But then when I started dating my wife now, her daughter was 2 and like about to start getting into Lego, and it's Christmas, coming up on Christmas time. I'm like, I'm not going to buy Duplo. Like, I think she's ready for the real thing. And then so I bought like a few just classic boxes, and then just literally just building with her. I was like, man, like Lego really is sick. Why did I stop after 2015? There's all these other Star Wars sets I've been missing out on. I'm getting back into it. And then so that's what really, really pushed it. I guess the pure nature of Lego, which is just building, introducing someone to Lego for the first time, introducing a 2-year-old to Lego for the first time and seeing her just really start to love it. And she's 7 now and like really love, like hands down, it's her favorite toy. Like anytime someone's like, "What's your favorite toy?" She's like, probably Legos, like 100%, like every time. And I mean,
nice.
So it's cool. Like, another cool thing is I kind of always joke with Lana. Well, and my wife knows this, but even if she ever gets out of Lego, like she knows 100%, like I'll help her sell her stuff if she wants, money for something, for something else. I'm definitely not just going to be like, you know what, Disney Castle? Yeah, we're just going to give that to an elementary school. We don't need
I'm going to keep that. You'll give her some cash, call it a day.
Yeah, or I might buy her collection from her. Like, name your price. No, I'm not gonna
this much.
I'm not gonna rip her off for it. I'm gonna give her what it's worth. But
like technically, I bought it for no. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so she would be right. That's true. Almost buying it a second time. Now she would be smart enough. I feel like by the time she was like a teenager, and if she was out of Lego, like if she didn't want her collection anymore, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'll give you $100 for the Disney Castle," she'd be like, "I remember what that cost, and it probably costs way more now." Doing a teenage impression of my 7-year-old stepdaughter, but I imagine that's how she would say it. She's got attitude like her mom. She'd be like, wasn't the Disney Castle like $300? I'd be like, "You're right, you're right, right." No, yeah, she would be too smart. I couldn't finesse her for all of her collection but anyways, not to spiral off too far away from, my mom gave away all my Lego, so that was kind of tough not having my old childhood collection, because I'm talking every single, like I love Star Wars, but I honestly had more Harry Potter Lego actually. Like Star Wars is my favorite theme now. I loved Lego Star Wars back then, but I had so much other Star Wars toys that I feel like Bionicle and Lego Harry Potter were like the 2 biggest themes for me at the time of being like 7. Obviously now it's Star Wars, and I still like Harry Potter a lot. But I had every single set in that first wave, I think, except for like one random little like play set that was, I don't even know if it was like a part of the main line, but I had the whole main first. I have a picture of me in a Spider-Man shirt, just like holding up a Harry Potter minifig, and I got the whole like it was like modular, and you could like stack it up. They kind of brought that style back for the Hogwarts sets that are out now. But back then in like 2001, like you'd like stack it up. You'd have the Chamber of Secrets on the bottom. You got the train going through, and like that was like my stuff. Like my main Lego table, like I always had Hogwarts all stacked up, all put together and everything. And I had my other Lego sets, but yeah, I think Harry Potter was a huge one for me back in the day, and it kills me because like I go to Brick World Chicago or go to like Bricks and Minifigs type stores, and I see some of those older sets, and I'm like, sheesh, these are pricey. They're I want them. Like people ask me about my white whale. It's like it's tough for me to put it on one set, but I think it's really easy for me to say I would love to have the entire first wave of Harry Potter. You know, of course, the newer Harry Potter sets are way better. There's actually a better piece for the wand, and it's not just literally like those giant rods that look like they're holding like this huge thing, and like their proportions. And they had yellow skin tones. They didn't even have flesh tones yet, and they had those spiral staircases that spin out. They still use that piece now, but yeah, just that. Like I look back at those sets, and I'm like, these definitely look their age. Like they look like sets from 2001. But for me, like the nostalgia of having that whole first Harry Potter wave and playing with those sets a lot, man. Like I said, they stayed up on my Lego table. Like my Lego table had other stuff. Hogwarts was always there. I was always playing with Hogwarts.
I do have a random question. If you were to catch your white whale, would you find a similar Spider-Man t-shirt to get the picture?
I'm glad that's on this podcast right now because I won't forget to do that. So yes, nice. 1,000,000%. But like it's a blue Spider-Man shirt, like long sleeve. And you know what's funny is
in the making,
my hair was like spiked up. Like my mom used to rock like brushed back, spiked up hair. Like I have long hair now. I've had long hair for a few years, but when I go to cut my hair, I'll spike it up. I'll shave. I'll spike my hair up. I'll try to look exactly the same. That's a great idea.
He's going full.
Great
nice.
idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we just went back.
That's just more motivation.
2000 vibes.
I'm gonna be at Brick World Chicago 2023. Like, where's the first wave Harry Potter stuff? It's the only thing I'm buying. Keep myself from buying everything else. Well, I was gonna say, I know I'm gonna have to. It would be nice to get it all brand new, but it's just so expensive to get it brand new. But at Brick World Chicago last year, I was really close to getting a few of the sets used because used they're pretty doable. Like you can get the Hagrid's Hut for like they had it for like $45, and it had everything with it, instruction booklet. But I don't know. There's that small part of me. I have like one of the first wave sets used. It's like a smaller one, but yeah, eventually we'll get there. May have to go the used route with a couple of them, but we'll get there. And I'll take that picture, Ninja. It's a great idea.
I'm waiting for it.
It's a great idea.
All right. So leading from that, what's your version of the ACOB story?
Okay, so how that came along, there's a couple funny parts to this, but how that came along was halfway through my first year making YouTube videos. And this was back when I was posting a lot. You know, I was streaming a lot. Really full heels into it, trying to get to 1,000 subs. And I would I would stream twice a week or so, and I would typically stream pretty late at night. And so Sean, being in California, three hours behind, he just started tuning in and became a regular. But what was really funny is before I really like formally met Sean, there was another Sean in my chats that would come in and watch my streams, and it was like, I don't know, Sean something else. I forget his last name, but this Sean commented, not Sean the right way. The other Sean commented, and I said something back to him about like his podcast idea, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, I think there's another Sean." So, but leading farther past that, I don't know. After watching my stuff for a couple weeks, I don't know if he just said something right in the live chat about it or DM'd me. One of the two. He might have just said something right in the chat. Either way, he asked me. He was just, "Hey, you want to do a Lego podcast?" And I pretty much just instantly was like, "Yeah." Like before I really, really met Sean, like we did do like one podcast episode that like no one will probably ever see. And it was just like a test run. And even that went pretty well. Like I kept saying like, oh man, we should release that for the, if we ever get Patreon one day, we should release that test episode for exclusive people or whatever. But no, yeah, it's said yes instantly, didn't really think about it. And then just started going at it. It's been sick because like you guys all know Sean, like Sean, he's just a natural speaker, I guess. You know, even on the days where like I don't have all that much to say, and it's just like kind of him and whatever guests we have on just going off, and I'm just like chilling, listening to everything. And Sean will be like, "Brent, what do you think about this? Sorry, I haven't feel like you haven't said much." I'm like, "Nah, I'm just listening to you guys go in. It's great. It's awesome." So
I'm soaking it in.
Then we ended up getting Max and the crew a little bit farther down the line. Max was like always in the chat. It was like a couple times where we asked him to like look something up, and he would just kind of being that guy in the chat, like throwing little tidbits in there. And then I started playing a bunch of Xbox with Max. We started playing a lot of MLB The Show, and him and I would just talk, online on Xbox Live. And I told Sean, I was like, "Hey, like, I feel like we should bring Max in because well, he's like young. He's younger than me. Sean is like, I don't want to put an exact number on how old he is, but he's older than me. I mean, people know how old Sean is, but I always feel awkward being like, that guy's this old. Sean, is older than me, and then I'm younger, but I'm also, I don't know, like 6-ish years, probably about 7 years older than Max. So like there's like 3, there's some breakup and like that, there's some age gap there. And then, started getting had a bunch of great guests, shout out to all the great guests that have been on, as well as obviously all 3 of you have been guests on there. We've had a bunch of other awesome, great guests. So coming up to the present of the thing, we were doing our 1-year anniversary, and we had Nicole, shout out to Girl Bricks a lot. She's been on she was on the show a couple times, and so we were doing our 1-year anniversary show, and Sean pretty much, he kind of asked her without me and Max knowing. I mean, we knew he was going to ask her, but kind of surprised us with it on the 1-year anniversary. So that was kind of another cool thing, this and that and the other. So yeah, shout out to Max, aka West Coast Bricks, Sean the Right Way, and Nicole, Girl Bricks a lot.
I mean, you guys definitely have a good chemistry. I did.
Thanks, man. I don't know if I mentioned it enough, or I know I said it before. I keep wanting to say on air, but before we started this episode, I know I mentioned it's weird that like this isn't live, because I'm always so used to like just doing. And like I said, I think I did mention earlier, this is the first one I've done that's not live. Like I've, shout out to Brick Hive and Doc. I've been on Good Morning Brick World, but that's also like a live stream kind of thing. And so it is kind of like it's a weird contrast, like this compared to our thing with a couple of brickheads, because it's live every Thursday. So
the live thing is pretty much norm now. I mean, I can name a bunch of shows that when they do it live and they're great. And the one thing that's different now with the lives of the regular shows that you see every week, to exclude Hall and Ballin, because they've been doing it like this for like the entire time. But like streams in the past is just streams. Like we're just building a Lego set, nothing's happening, and
right.
Got a name to it. But now you have shows like yourselves, you have Good Morning Brick World, you have Something Required, Stubbuds too. Like you have segments, you have guests, you have like there's structure to it, and it's like on the same time every week, which is very, very hard to do.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like we struggle with that, and we don't do it live. But we have that flexibility, whereas you guys have to be there almost every week at the same time. That's a lot of stress for one, but two, like like having what we do here, it's not common anymore. It used to be. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's nice. I can say the wrong name about someone for 10 minutes, and then we can be like, oh, wait a minute. Let me go back a little bit. We'll just cut that part out.
But it's again, like it's more intimate like this way. Like we have more freedom to kind of just like say what's on your mind, and if it comes out to be great, cool. If it doesn't, we'll be like snip. But like for the most part, there's not a lot of that. But we want our guests to feel comfortable and not have to have the pressures of people in the chat like kind of influencing what you're going to say next or impacting what you've already said. That type of stuff. Not to say that's bad or anything. That's just the structure that we want it to be, because mainly this podcast is more focused on like you guys. Not
right. Yeah. So there's great things about doing it both ways. And like I said, anytime we have guests, like I feel like I want to be like more like an interview, but sometimes I guess Sean doesn't want to get too interviewee. I mean, we do like, we talk about someone's origin and stuff like that a little, but it's never as much as I guess kind of I want to do it. But like I said, it's weird. Like you have a different angle when it's live, and it is also kind of different too with the segments, because like there's been some segments that I won't go into detail of, but there's been some segments that I had no idea that were going to happen, and Sean and Max are talking about, oh yeah, let's do this segment. Brent has no idea, but we're just gonna run it, and we're live, and like it's just my raw reaction, and I'm just like, all right, I didn't know this was happening. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefits to both, like doing a live. Yeah, exactly. But there's definitely benefits to doing a live thing and not doing it live. With like the segments and stuff with a chat too, as I guess, because we do the Lego set drafts. We've done like 2 or 3 of them so far. And I was gonna say, I know you guys have seen at least pieces of them, but like the set drafts are cool because the chat always chimes in, and like we'll have 2 judges or 2 people selecting the winners, I guess. And if that's tied, then we kind of go to the chat. So it's kind of it's fun to go to the chat when it's live and everything, but but also too, like I love this too. And there's been times where I've talked to Sean about, we could do an edited show sometime where, like, for instance, like this year on every year Thanksgiving's on Thursday, our show's on Thursday. If we didn't always do it live on Thursday and we recorded it on like a whatever other day during the week, we could still post on that day and not have to do it at that exact time right then and there. So there's definitely benefits to both, but it's interesting to, like, for me, like, I've been on the only other like Lego podcast I've been on is Good Morning Brick World, but it's also live, so it felt pretty similar in certain aspects. And then with like
show and
that's a show. You guys have shows.
It's like a radio. It's like radio almost, like, type of thing. So
speaking into the future, because I heard them talking about doing a pre-recorded episode for Christmas. So that's interesting that you're thinking about that for like Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's like mostly for just like scheduling and convenience factor, right? You think, or is it because of the fact, or is it because of the content that you want to commit? I don't know. It sounds like, especially when it's like on those like holidays, what I found like with us is like whenever we have like kind of like a milestone, we'll do like a live thing, right? And so like we're doing a live one for our what are we doing? Our 100th?
2 years.
2 years anniversary.
Yeah, that's sick.
Next week, technically.
Yeah. And which is like, honestly, it could not be at a more inconvenient time. It's like, what is it? It's the day before,
like in between New Year's and Christmas.
It's like sometime in New Year's. I'm pretty sure I'm like closing on a house that day, and I'm technically homeless. So like I'm really excited to see where I'm doing this broadcast from. But my point is like, like I find
probably there, because we had this one dude who was in the corner and didn't show up.
Oh yeah. No, but that's what, like, I was about to bring that up. But my whole point is that like you guys are like, oh, let's do a recorded thing for convenience, like during these difficult times, and us, these three idiots, were like, you know what? Let's do a live stream when it's like.
That's true. Completely
right.
Yeah. But we've done the pre-recorded. Although these are all pre-recorded, there are weeks when we do like 2 episodes in a week.
Yeah, it helps you have.
Like, if it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for like our flexibility to be able to do that, and then like Shy literally project managing Ninja and I, like we would like I would not have had anything on my Lego YouTube space for like 145 days, which I think I just looked up when my last video upload was. Wow. Because like I used to do regular live streams like on my YouTube. I used to do live streams on my Twitch. I used to do mockumentary. Which was like, a live stream mock thing, which was like more of a show as well. We had like, it was a bit more organized, and then also it was organized to be unorganized. That was like our whole shtick. But like, and then I used to upload videos, and trust me, I like miss doing all that stuff. But I like having this here, because if it wasn't for that, then I would feel like I wasn't part of the community. This is like my way of still being like, hi everybody. I'm like still holding someone's hand and they're dragging me along.
Yeah, I'm the same freaking boat. Like it's exactly where I am. So like when people ask me like, do you still do the YouTube thing? But they don't really watch, like they're more of a casual viewer. Like they're not really into Lego. Like they just kind of
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So they don't really watch. They don't watch a couple of brickheads. But like that's kind of my response. Like, do you still do like the YouTube thing? I'm like, well, yes, but really I've just been keeping up with my podcast every week. So yeah, like my son was born like January 10th, and it was at the beginning of this year, and it was just funny because I kept telling myself like, oh yeah, when he's like a couple weeks old, like I'll get some stuff recorded and then I'll get back into it. And it's just, I mean, if you've had kids, like it's so there's just truly not enough time in a day, like when there's like kids involved and things like that. So, but I have a ton of stuff. Like for anyone watching this, I know Sean and Max, even Shy, are like, no excuses. Like, especially if you have stuff recorded, like just edit, and do the rest of what you need to do to make stuff. And like, I know this, and like, but it really comes down to like, aside from having my son, we got married this year and bought a house all at like the beginning of the year. So it was like 3 major lifetime events happening, just boom, 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 like child born. And then like we're buying a house almost around the same time we were getting married. So that was a crazy busy mess of just events happening. And then the house we bought needed a bunch of stuff done to it. I mean, it's like solid house. Like we love this house and everything, but it's it's a little bit of an older house. So I'm talking like electric was reworked, plumbing was reworked, needed a lot of things done. And that was time consuming. You know, some of the stuff I was handling, like the more minor stuff, like painting and, you know, what have you. But so yeah, aside from my son being bored and kind of taking away, you know, the free time I used to have to make a ton of YouTube videos, it was, you know, we got married and then the house was a big thing too. Big thing. I said, like, my Lego room is still not set up. Like this hodgepodge of, this is not me like, this is going to be my setup. Like, this is just sets behind me that are on a table. So they're not on the floor. Because I'm in the.
Don't worry, Brent. That's what it looks like. It's okay. I
was gonna say, like, I've never really mentioned this, like, even on a couple of Brickheads. I think I've mentioned it like one time, but like, I always wonder. I'm like, I hope people don't think that I'm just like stacking up a bunch of sets behind me in this random configuration, and people are like, I wonder if he thinks that's a cool setup. It literally makes no sense. Like,
I'm sure some people do. I'm sure there's got to be somebody who thinks that. I'm sure, but it also looks like, oh, if I don't have anything behind me, it's going to be this like kind of off-white yellow wall thing, and I better like.
Yeah, like, let me put something there in quick case. Grogu looks like he's staged. All right, he doesn't look like he's not meant to be there.
Yeah, it looks like 15 minutes before this started, you're like, I'm going to stack
100%. And this is literally what it's been like for the whole duration of me moving into this house. Because I'm sitting in my basement right now. The room on the other side of this wall, that's my Lego room. There's like, this is a 3-bedroom house, but the room that's going to be my Lego room is basically a 4th bedroom. So that's going to be where all so I'm just in the basement. My mom will come over and like look down the basement and be like, oh my God, you still have all that stuff everywhere? I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom, I got a lot of Lego. I've not had time to set up my Lego room. I still want to go to IKEA and get like all new shelves. And like, I have plans for what I want to do in my Lego room. It's just like, I got to go to IKEA. I got to get shelves. And then I got to start getting stuff situated, because like my background before was nothing much better than this. Like my background for all of I just had a couch.
Like boxes on shelves. I remember that. It was like, right? Wasn't it?
So it wasn't a shelf. It was literally, it was a couch. It was a couch.
No.
It was a couch. And I would just have like a couple random sets like sitting behind me. And then I would have like Grogu sitting in between one. And I had my Boba Fett helmet kind of sitting on the corner of the couch behind me. But like the problem with my old Lego room though, is it was in like a loft. So like, it was the upstairs of the house we were renting, but the ceiling behind me was like sloped in, like the whole room did this. So it wasn't like normal to where you can have shelves stacked up. So that's why like I had minimal space. In my new Lego room, it's a normal room with a normal ceiling, and I can actually have shelves in there. I feel like I'm talking with my hands so much. I'm like I'm like describing, this is what I want to do. But yeah, so that's another thing. I haven't been making YouTube videos, and I also still haven't really set up my Lego room yet. So it's things that I need to do really soon, especially because like my mom is like, oh my God, you still don't have that set up? This area of the basement is supposed to be, like a playroom. And like, that's what we're like, where I'm sitting is going to be like Lana's Lego space. So like she'll have her table and things here, but yeah, it's funny. That's eventually. I never really touched on that a whole lot on a couple of Brickheads that like, hey, this is not a permanent setup. Like the only reason why I have the Disney castle right here is literally because we had that like Disney episode with like Moments of the Magic and Josh from Josh Build Stuff. And
it's still there.
So I just threw it there. Haven't moved it. Have not moved it. Honestly, the only reasoning like I have my on the floor next to me, there's just like a whole like sea of sets.
Is that all backlog stuff?
Dude, yeah, like I would move the camera.
Yeah, I guess that's key. Are you saving empty boxes or are these full?
Yeah, no, these are right here. These are 100% all boxes. Like it's
wait, empty boxes?
Empty or full?
No, I meant to say full. My empty box is in the garage. Okay, the Disney castle's empty, but like everything else is like full stuff.
Hasn't even been opened Lego boxes.
Swear.
Wow.
Swear.
Okay, hold on.
It's bad.
So Ninja and I can't speak on behalf of this. Like he's got kids and he's busy, so it's fine. But I don't have kids and I'm busy, and it's not fine. But like Shy, okay, I'll set you up for success here with your answer. Okay, so there's I'm not gonna say trifecta, but there's work, kids, what's it called? Lego, or doing YouTube videos, and sleep, and you can only have 3.
The key to being able to do all of that you just said, you have to take out one of them. And the one thing that I don't do out of all of that is sleep. I do not sleep. I edit my videos, make content at like 11 p.m. and edit until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I wake up at 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
And nobody is telling you to do this.
Don't do that. That's not helpful.
No, I still right. So I'm at the point now where like I'm definitely still waking up. Like I get some sleep, but like my son's pretty much every single morning up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So like,
oh yeah, it doesn't change.
It's just like an alarm clock every single morning. But like, but I know eventually I can get in a routine. My thing now is like
going out of the house.
Well, especially so.
That's deep.
Great. I see what you're saying there. Like, there's work, sleep, and then like, making YouTube videos, and like you can't always have 3 if ever. So like, but for me, like, so, there's sleep, work, and then the Lego stuff. And for me, like, especially with like, there was a lot of work I was doing outside of my actual job, which was getting this house and working on things and doing odd jobs throughout. So I had like I had even more work outside of like my job that I work. Because there's a lot of nights too where Henry's just up and down too. Like his sleep schedule is still like sometimes he doesn't even sleep a full night through. A lot of the times he'll get up and down. Like there's nights where he sleeps all the way through, other nights where he does not. And I might just go down. I might come home from work and I'll go downstairs just to decompress and freaking turn on my Xbox to play it for 30 minutes. And before I even load up a game of Call of Duty, I hear my son crying upstairs. I'm like, Jesus. So like,
that's the key difference between you and I is that I don't play video games.
Well, I do, but I don't even play.
I also sleep. That's the key difference.
Yeah, she sleeps. I don't play video games. So
see, that's the thing. I didn't used to sleep, and I got sick. So just to be fair. Well, I play a little bit of it. Like I don't play a ton. But this is kind of where I'm at with that. Like even if I don't watch YouTube videos, even if like after work I just want to decompress and watch YouTube for an hour. Like sometimes I don't even like get through that when he'll wake up or whatever. But like for me, okay, basically what I'm trying to get to is like the small minimal window that I have that is after work or whatever, where I could make a YouTube video or at least, edit some or work on it. Maybe not do everything in whatever time I have, but basically I'll work all day and I'm like, well, I'm pretty tired. I could come home and I could, knock out some editing or do whatever, or I can finally sit down and watch a couple videos that I've been wanting to catch up on YouTube, or I could sit down and play Xbox for an hour and then go to sleep. So it's tough to kind of like when you have such a minimal free time, it's like, okay, I have a lot less free time now. I just worked a 10-hour shift. I could spend 2 more hours editing a YouTube video, or I can freaking relax after working like a 10, 12-hour shift and relax and do something that I want to do for a couple hours and then go to sleep. So that's really where the struggle is for me. Like, yes, I could try to cut out like playing Xbox and doing whatever completely. But sometimes for me, it's just tough. Like, yeah, it's tough because I pull a lot of double shifts at my work. And not to get into too much detail, but like the way Jennifer's work schedule is set up compared to mine, like I work less days but longer shifts. So like, there's sometimes 3 shifts where I'm like 10 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours. And so like 35 hours in like just 3 days or whatever or more. So like for me, it's just like I have the time to edit and make YouTube videos, but sometimes it's just, this is crazy because like I've honestly like there's been times where like maybe I should literally just make a YouTube video and explain to people where I've been, to all the people that are like, do you still make YouTube videos anymore?
And not to be indelicate, but nobody cares. I seriously, like even the biggest YouTubers, like nobody cares. Like, because the reality is like, they know you're gone. It's fine. You don't need to explain it. What they want to see is more of your content. If that's unless content is explaining yourself all the time, maybe sure. But like, do you know what I mean? It's like, they just want to see more of whatever it is that you're doing if they're asking. I do think, because I just had this conversation with Josh and he's like, I need to explain where I've been. I'm like, no, you don't. But whatever.
You don't think you should? I feel like I would still click on the video though, because it's a Josh Build Stuff update, or upload. You know what I mean?
I'll click on it no matter what. That's the thing. It's like people who care about where you've been are going to click on it no matter what. That's true. Then the people who don't care are not going to click on it, right? So if you're trying to come back, especially if you've been gone for a long time, there's also like this insecurity as to like re-upload. You know what I mean? You kind of feel like uncomfortable again, and you like don't want your first video back to like total crap, especially relative to your previous ones. So it doesn't help you to do like such a niche thing. That's like my personal opinion. You can like think of it whatever. But I do feel like, okay, let's say like your priority is to make YouTube videos and you do miss it or whatever. I think it's like, and for me, this is where I think I fail as well. Like, I don't find it relaxing anymore. I used to like, you know how you're like, I want to come home and I want to relax. It used to be relaxing to me. Like, for some reason, it's not anymore because of like whatever pressure or whatever mental state or whatever shift I put. But I totally get it. Like, if you're working like crazy hours and you come back and you like want your brain to be off, but then you don't really want your brain to be off to do YouTube videos. Like, I get that. And I think, like, I would guarantee Shai would argue. He's like, yeah, that is his relaxed time in his way.
So for me, being empty in my mind is what scares me. So I need to be busy 24/7.
Yeah. I feel that. For me,
it's therapeutic.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I guess it depends on what kind of video I'm editing. Like for me, editing like a vlog, so easy for me. I'm so like whatever.
You're like the day and like
it's like for me, editing vlogs easy. And then I guess I don't know. It just depends. It depends on the type of video, I guess. It's been so long since I've made videos. I'm like forgetting what did I used to post? I don't know. But so I guess you kind of hit the nail on the head, Claire, when you're like you work all day and it's like, do you want to come home and still kind of work your brain, or do you want to just watch Game of Thrones for an hour and drink have a beverage and eat a snack and then go to bed? So.
Yeah, and maybe that's the vibe that maybe you need to bring to your YouTube videos. Maybe it's like you kind of like start watching Game of Thrones and drinking and recording yourself, and the next day you like edit or something. I don't know. That could be just like total garbage, but it could also be fun or what. It's like I like without like sounding like a principal or a mom. And like not taking this as like a bad thing, because I think people always take what I'm about to say as like a negative, but it is an attitude readjustment. Like, and that doesn't necessarily like mean a bad thing. It's like really, or it's like a perspective realignment or whatever. There's all sorts of like different phrases of saying it, but basically it's like changing the way that you feel about it, because it's like you're the only one who's going to change how you feel about something.
Right.
And I've quite literally like am in the process of doing gymnastics in my brain right now, because like I'm currently like planning a bunch of stuff, and then like purchasing a house, and like I'm starting, like my company's actually starting to pick up for like the first time in a while, and so like all these like things are falling in place that I'm super excited about, and then I'm forecasting not seeing myself not upload anymore, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done not uploading, you know what I mean? So like kind of like, and that's like how my brain works. Like if I ever want to work out or like have a new like fitness routine or like a food routine, it has to be like, I have to be really strict with myself. Not everyone is like this, but I'm like really, I have to be militant because I have issues with authority. So I have to like kind of like convince my brain a little bit. And so I'm doing these gymnastics, which are completely exhausting. And so I'm tired by the time I'm done with it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in a good place to like upload a video. And then I'm like, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed. And so, so it's just like, it's this like roller coaster. And I talk about it here all the time. And I have like the best support system of like YouTube friends and my partner and everything. And I'm literally set up for success. I don't have kids yet. I make my own time, but man, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't figure it out.
Yeah. I was like, well, it's crazy too, because like, I don't know. I don't want to say my motivation to do it is gone, but it's just, I just have so like, and especially like I said, with the beginning of the year of my son being born, getting married, buying a house needs work to be done. Moving to a new house in general just takes up a bunch of the time. Like, so doing like all of that within a few months, like takes up a lot of time. But I think back to my motivation when I was literally just starting. I probably did 4 giveaways. Like I was streaming multiple times a week. Like I had an actual schedule when I was trying to upload videos on certain days. I remember I came home one night, and at the time we weren't married. So, well, my wife now, when we were just renting a house, I come home and like she's got like people over who are also my friends too. So it's not like it's random people, but I'm all stressed out. Like I don't even want to hang out with these people. I'm like, oh, I gotta have a video uploaded at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Like I'm not trying to like hang out with you guys in the living room. And also, if you guys are down here laughing and stuff, you're gonna hear it in the background of my audio. Like I'm like, I used to be so concerned and fixated on it. So I guess I don't know. There was times. I guess there's times when, yeah.
So
well, it also goes to like, okay, so one of my best friends. So I didn't mean to cut you off, But like,
No, that's all good. Go ahead.
one of my best friends, AJ. Shout out to AJ. He does a mask channel, like Slipknot masks, horror movie masks, and all that. And he's really turned his stuff into a full on career. I mean, he's doing so much with it. I talk about him on our podcast, but like, it's so funny because like Sean pretty much rolls right over it anytime I bring him up because he knows nobody in the Lego community cares about Slipknot and horror movies. Move on. Like, so, but I bring him up just because how he's
a content creator.
Well, and he's the gathering.
Well, he's just. Oh, you knew about that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. So that was great. His videos from that were crazy. He interviewed those guys and everything. Anyways, but he's really I brought him up because he's just really turned his into a full on career. And like, is anyone out there that's like, oh yeah, it must be nice to just put videos on YouTube and make money and sit at home all the time? It's like, dude, you don't know the first thing. Like, anyone that has no idea like what time and hours and effort it goes into editing videos, putting them on YouTube, posting about them on your other social medias, making thumbnails and all of that. Like, it takes up a lot more time than you would think. And so I guess
I know. I think people get blinded by the fact that like you get to make your own schedule and you're at home. I think that's like what people like get fixated on. I'm in full agreement with you. I think a lot of people, and then there are people like your friend is not one of them. There are people who sometimes their channels grew like out of just dumb luck. And I think that's what people are like probably referencing, or people who the work for a really long time and then are sitting back and chilling and they're only seeing that one sliver in time. I think it's like a combination of all of it, which is and there's a lot of jealousy when it comes to social media. It is kind of wild. It's a lot of stuff that like you don't see it since like school and stuff is back. It's like it's worse than a typical corporate environment. I don't think people have no concept of it. It's still so new, even though it's been around for a while now.
Right. Yeah, like I guess when people kind of refer to that, because there's times when I'll look something up, right? Like, the highlights from tonight's NBA game that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not posted by the NBA. It is posted by a channel with like a name that doesn't even make sense, has nothing to do with basketball, and they just constantly post that and get a ton of clicks. And I'm just like, well, I guess that's one form of literally copying, pasting some other content onto your channel and then driving clicks with it. So I guess that's one way to just throw shit on YouTube. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess that's one way of like, oh yeah, I can just put videos up on YouTube and make money and there's no effort. But like, so I guess, there's definitely a difference between that and like, I guess a good comparison would be like Ryan from M&R Productions. Like, he's obviously is his full career, and he's got enough subscribers and views and everything for that to really take up all his time. And that's like, how my buddy is like his, and especially for like the community he's in, he's got like 150,000 subs, but like that's in such a niche. It's like more niche than this community. Like, him having that many subs is like, people like Ryan now who have like 500,000. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm sure Ryan thinks back to when he had like 10K and was like, whoa, like I have 500,000 subscribers now. Like, this is really grown past this very small niche thing that it used to be. And I mean, like, the whole Lego space in general has obviously grown way bigger than it was, even like 6-7 years ago. But yeah, I guess that's the tangent of the YouTube side of things, I guess, of like people not really knowing how much can go into it.
Well, we were going to dive into another topic, which I feel like we could just spend another.
It kind of segued in there. Were you?
It did. But knowing this conversation, it would go for another hour. So I'm just gonna say I'm gonna like just push that to another episode because we'll just have you back. So I think this is a good place to kind of put a hold on and
that's fine.
Cap the episode. So
well, I think I guess I can wrap it up. I think it's December 13th. We're coming up to the end of the year. Today is like our recording date, and it's gonna go live in like 3 or 4 days. But we basically have 2 weeks left of the year, and I think like Brett, like hopefully for you, your next year is not as tumultuous, and I mean that in the best way possible because like house and everything, these are wonderful things happening. But hopefully your next year is not like that, and I hope the same thing for me and Ninja and Chai. Hopefully things smooth out. But I don't know. I guess do you have any like goals for like next year?
100%. Yeah.
You know? Okay,
so,
cool.
I have a goal, but it's also kind of a punchline at this point because I'm still sitting on like all of my vlogs from Brick World Chicago 2022, and it's become a running joke. Look at Shy shaking his head. Sean and Max are always like, yeah, he might.
I bought my tickets already.
Well, yeah, Sean and Max are like, yeah, Brent, you're going to put the Brick World Chicago vlogs out before Brick World Chicago happens again next year. So it's kind of like a running joke.
So you could just make a vlog and put it up, and people will think it's this year's Brick World, but it'll really be last year's.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Dang.
Might as well post it up right before Brick World Chicago.
I think for the hype to bring it up, I don't know. Yeah, I have to because I know. Well, this is the thing too. It's like I have some decent enough footage. There's some interesting things that happened with me and some other Lego YouTubers, but like even going for my first time, like I felt like I didn't have enough footage. So like I'm definitely excited going into Brick World 2023. Hopefully by that time I'll be making videos more regularly. And I'll film more stuff. It would just be because like there's so many things that happen during that week where I'm just like, oh, I didn't film any of that. And like people that I met and like I may have took a picture with, but I could have got a quick clip of us like meeting and talking or whatever, and like but just didn't get any of it, So yeah, in terms of like goals, like definitely get the Brick World Chicago 2022 vlogs out before Brick World Chicago 2023. That'd be a good way to start.
Amazing.
But I've got other stuff I'm sitting on too. I have a tour of my old Lego room.
You got to get that up
before, and it'll be cool because like this is a tour of my old Lego room, and now I'm setting up this new one and getting new shelves and all that. So that'll be a project and something to work on. And and there's other. I've always thought like the Q&A videos were fun, like just answering people's questions in the comments. I literally only did 2 of them, but like they were more responsive than I thought they would be. And I always watch, I watch a lot of Ask Him and Ours and whatever, the Brick Whizzes series, and pretty much almost everyone does a Q&A series nowadays, and I always think those are pretty fun. I wanted, especially because Shy's always also saying like no excuses, like you should at least always be slowly putting out footage and not going forever, even though you have kids now with forever without posting stuff. But I really wanted to have something posted before we did this, but obviously I still didn't get there. But just keep bugging me about it, and I will finally start.
You got definitely 3 days to do something.
3 days. Got 3 days left.
Oh, it's not out yet. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
So that might be like the hard.
Do I say right now I'm finally going to have an upload, and then I'll be like, well, I said it on Cali Brick Clique that I was going to have an upload ready. This goes out on Friday?
Yeah.
Friday at 7 a.m. I moved it up because it does better.
Okay. Well, maybe later today there'll be an upload on my channel. Should I say maybe? Maybe I should say there will be. That's too much pressure. I don't know. There will be.
Oh, your dog.
Do it.
Just maybe check my channel. I might have a new upload up. Who knows?
Keep an eye out.
A community post doesn't count.
Yeah. But what does come out every single week is the podcast that I'm on every single week. That's live. A couple of Brickheads live every single Thursday. I hate doing promo stuff, but there it is.
There's nothing wrong with plugging yourself.
Done.
So I was like, plug the podcast. I'm like, oh yeah, I still hate. Like, I don't even like asking people to like and subscribe. I feel so like YouTubey when I do it, and I'm like,
but there's probably an overlapping audience here of some people who want to hear you guys like messing around and stuff. So. Yeah,
it's definitely fun over there.
All right, Ninja, roll us out, yeah?
Hey, I mean, with that being said, there's nothing else to say. Play that music.
All right, guys.
Peace. I'm hearing the music in my head, even though I can't hear it now. I know what it sounds like.
I was going to say that in the beginning. I'm used to introing and you're bobbing your head, and I was like,
I know.
It was weird.
I was like,
I don't know.